Welcome everybody, Adam has a podcast, episode 19, guys. It has been bank holiday weekend just gone, and I had a pretty interesting and very fun weekend, to be honest with you. So let's go through it all. I started off Friday night. I was gigging for Manford's Comedy Club in Northwich. Now I went there and I was told that this could be a difficult room, a tricky room, and sometimes you can get this with, because Northwich is a posher kind of area. Sometimes you can get it with posher areas because they can be like a little bit more reserved. Maybe that's why I'm wearing a turtleneck. I want to be a bit more sophisticated, and so have right, Adam Manford coming at you with jokes. Yeah, maybe that's why I'm wearing that now. But yeah, did it, and it was a nice fun gig. Nice fun gig. It was a little bit more difficult. You had to work a little bit harder for the laughs, but overall, very much enjoyed it. Very much enjoyed the run out. Got to gig with some people who I'd not gigged before, including Barry Dodds. Now, Barry Dodds is a name that I've heard for years. This guy's been going for decades on the circuit, yeah? Very much someone who, in my personal life, so the mighty Swab, a stand-up comedian from Bolton, he told me a lot about Barry Dodds, and I was like, I've never gigged with him. He's like, you never gigged with Barry? I'm like, no, I never gigged with him. And he always sung his praises to me. This is the first time gigging with him. Lovely chap. He was MCing, really enjoyed his stuff. Up first was Eddie Brimson. Really like Eddie Brimson. Again, Eddie's a guy I've heard of for years, and I've known him for a couple of years now. And he's a really nice fella. Really nice fella. So getting to like rub shoulders with people who've been on the circuit for years, who are respected comedians, and you're there on the lineup. You've got your position in there. You've got the weakest position in there as the newest man on the lineup. But being there, it was nice. It's nice to get those spots, get those opportunities. You're in a theatre as well. Lovely stuff. And like I say, I enjoyed myself. And Manford is one of the biggest bookers in the UK. It's one of the people that you really want to be in with. It's one of the biggest names as well. Obviously, it's Jason Manford's company. It's something that carries respect. It's something that you do really want to do well for. So the fact that it went well, really enjoyed that. Debbie, who works for them, she's always great. She always puts on a great spread in the green room as well. Crates, drinks, chocolates, cookies. Enjoyable. Enjoyed it. Enjoyed the whole experience. What a start to my weekend, right? Then, Saturday, watched a little bit of football. I watched Match of the Day for the first time in years. I used to love Match of the Day as a kid, right? I used to watch Match of the Day every single week as a kid. And then, they took it away, they moved it to ITV and they called it the Premiership. It's a beautiful day. Make it away. Bono, boom. Yeah, we remember. So, yeah, used to love Match of the Day, but I've not seen it in years and not watched it in years. So I put it on and watched it because I thought, you know what, we're getting towards the end of the season. There's some high-scoring games. It should be enjoyable. And it was an enjoyable watch. Gary Lineker's not on it anymore. I just assumed for some reason it'd be Micah Richards, Ian Wright, that kind of grouping, but it wasn't. I think Wayne Rooney was on it. I think Gabby Logan was presenting. I don't really remember, to be honest with you, but I do remember enjoying it. Football's heating up, isn't it? You might be a football fan, you might not be a football fan, but it's heating up. The whole narrative all season has been, will this be Arsenal's year? Will they bottle it? They've got this label as bottlers, people who just can't get over the line. They can't make it happen. They can't win the big one when it really matters. And it's looked like that the last few weeks. It's looked like in the last few weeks that they're going to fall off big time and they are going to not get it done. And then, boom. A mad weekend for them. They hammer Fulham and then Man City drop points against Everton, and all of a sudden Arsenal are back in the driver's seat. Last night in the Champions League, they win that. They're through to the first Champions League final for 20 years. 2006 was the last time. I had a great 2006, by the way. I had a fantastic year in 2006, but that's a different story for a different day. I was in college back in those days, starting to figure out yourself a little bit. You're starting to widen up your friendship group, let's just say, because when I was younger, I was only friends with the boys on my estate, and all of us boys who were quite similar. We're still similar to this day, still very good friends to this day, but I started to widen out my friendship circle a little bit, get to know people a little bit more intimately when you're in those college days, don't you? So, and just in that year when those things were happening, that's when Arsenal got to the Champions League final. That's when I was an Arsenal fan and I was loving it. And I do, deep down, I'm actually starting to feel it a little bit of like, oh, this might just heal a little bit of that childhood trauma of Arsenal losing to Barcelona, Jens Lehmann getting sent off, Robert Pires getting substituted. Almunia comes on. Henri doesn't really show up on the night. He misses a one-on-one. I am getting it back. It's coming back. That feeling. If Arsenal win it won't be the same as when I was a kid, obviously. And obviously not supporting Arsenal anymore, it won't have that same effect. But I think I would like to see them win. Well, do I want to? I don't know. But either way, football's heating up. Anyway, so that was Saturday. Sunday, enjoyed myself. Spent a little bit of time around Horwich this Sunday. We went for brunch in Middlebrook, had a little bit of brunchy brew, that was nice, and then did a little bit of shopping, home bargains, Tesco, loaded up on a few things that you need for the house. That's a boring thing about being an adult that you don't realise. You've got to go shopping all the time. I'm shopping all the time as an adult, and it's making me think like do I just want to load up on dry goods to put in the cupboard and just live off that and live off a freezer worth of stuff? Because we all know fresh food is better, right? You want the fresh stuff in your fridge, but that don't last for ages. So every couple of days you are going, and then you forget an ingredient. So then you need to go back again, and you need to top your basket up and do this, and the benainness. I don't even know the word of being an adult. Having to do these things over and over again. It's no fun, is it? It's no fun being an adult. It was way fun in 2006. I was entering adulthood. Those were the fun days. Now, 2026, not as fun. Although my life is fun. I'm complaining, but I know I live a privileged life. I know that I don't need for much in this life, and I know that I get to go around and perform stand-up comedy and get paid for it and get a slap on the back from people going, oh, you know what, mate, you were really good tonight, and that kind of thing. And today I got recognised in Bolton. I get recognised in Bolton quite a lot because I'm from here, and that's how the algorithm works, is it pushes your stuff out to people in Bolton. But this lad, he's called Bilal, he was like, hey, Bilal. And I was like, oh, George, he goes, oh, Adam, I've seen you on TikTok, Bilal. And I'm like, oh, is that you using it? He's like, yeah. Can I get a picture? And I'm like, listen, when people ask me, can I get a picture? I love that. I love that question. That is a level of oh, I'm glad to bump into you. I want to remember this moment. Because I know that feels on a bigger level, because I remember seeing people like Thierry Henry. I remember seeing Thierry Henry when I was a teenager, but seeing him outside the Bolton Reebok Stadium and outside of the JJB at Wigan. And in those days, camera phones weren't like what they are now. So I didn't get a picture of Thierry Henry, but I can only imagine how much I would have loved that back then. Even now, if I bump into somebody who I enjoy their stuff, I love that moment, get a little bit of a pic with them and all that stuff. So the fact that he asked me, really appreciated that. And I thought, absolutely, I do a smile. It's something that I don't think I've ever said publicly. I don't like my smile. I feel like I don't know how to... I feel like I don't know how to smile, so I'm smiling in the picture because I want to make it, I don't want me to be, yeah, you get a picture. Like that. I want to smile, but then I'm looking at myself and think, don't look at yourself, Adam. I don't like my smile. I don't know what it is. And don't get me wrong, I'm not one of these people who's like body dysmorphia and all that stuff and dislikes how I look. I know that I'm not Brad Pitt, but I also know that I'm okay looking, so it's fine. I'm happy with where I am in life in terms of that, but I still don't like me smile. I don't know. I think maybe you're in a bit too much in your head, and that's stand-up comedians all day, that isn't it? That is stand-up comedians all day. So, anyway, loop it back round. Horwich, did a bit of shopping. Monday came around. I was back filming with Ham and Fam, back filming Guess the Pakistani. We shot 2 this time. This time we shot Guess the Muslim, and then we shot Guess the White Person. So they flipped. And I, be honest, I enjoy doing 2 new things, because last time we shot 2 things, this time we shot 2 things, and all 4 are slightly different game shows. And I love the format. Between you and me, I watched some of the other Guess the Muslim shows on Sunday night, and I didn't think that theirs were as good as the ones that we did. But then again, you never know how it's going to come out in the edit. The edit might not be as good visually as it was to experience it. One thing I will say about some of those other ones, the production value on them incredible. I was saying it out loud. I was like, wow, look at that camera work. Look at the text that's just dropped in there. The sound effects. There's money shooting all over the place in one of them. I was like, this is brilliant production-wise. I would love to be able to do this kind of stuff myself and this level of entertainment. But Shooting with the Hammer fam, it's brilliant. So like I said, the first one was Guess the Muslim. And that one, I felt like I was on form. I was dropping in lines here and there, punchlining it up and setting people up, and then I can come back with a punchline and all this kind of stuff. That was good. It was enjoyable. The second one, I felt like I was a little bit more mentally fatigued, and I probably was because I'd been there about 4 or 5 hours by the end of it. And it was just a little bit harder for me to get going and be creative and be coming out with like good punchlines and good funny things. So I was trying my best, and bless him, Ham was setting me up for a few things, which was good. And I liked being on the judge's side. On the judge's side is good, and every now and then he'll look over to you and he'll be like, go on, you have a go. And it puts you on the spot a little bit, and it puts you a little bit of pressure on you going like, there you go, there's the ball, score. Have a free kick, bend it top corner. You're like, okay, this is what I'm training for, guys. And I hit this one, I need to smash them with his punchline here. Some of them landed, some of them didn't, but that's what the edit's for. So hopefully I come across well in the edit. But very much an enjoyable day. Tom Zanetti was on the second one. I know Tom Zanetti's name. I know he's a very popular person. Everyone that I've mentioned know Tom Zanetti was in there. Well, Tom Zanetti was on it, really? Tom Zanetti was like, yeah, Tom Zanetti was on it, which it doesn't really fit the thing because it's like a very Asian and Muslim-based show, but he was on Guess the White Person, and as a white person, boom, he was bang into it. And I won't spoil anything about it, but yeah, 2 fun shoots. I enjoyed the first one more, felt a little bit more fatigued by the second one. I think what I'm going to do next time is maybe in between the shoots just jump out and get a coffee from somewhere, and I think that might be the thing that just drags me through it a bit more and a little bit more sharper and stuff like that. It's interesting because when you just look at these, I'll be honest, as a stand-up comedian, I look at these things and I'm like, so easy. This is so easy. And for me, I feel like I adapt to it very well because it matches up with my skill set. The fact that you're there live and you only got one chance to record it, really. You got to be on the ball and you got to be good at coming up with stuff on the spot. And that is the stuff that I'm better at in stand-up. If you were to ask me what's better, like my reactions or my preparation, my reactions all the time. My reactions always better. In terms of writing stand-up comedy, I'm not a great writer. I can't just sit there with a pen and a piece of paper and just like write jokes and come up with stuff. But if you put me on stage and you just let me talk, I'll stumble upon something funny. The problem is how long can you stand up there without making people laugh? And that's a big thing. It's all right when you're building tension and building towards a laugh specifically because you know where you're going. But when you're just blabbering and going on and on and on and you're not actually making any point, that's the difficult bit with stand-up because the audiences are sat there and then you do make them laughing like, that's nothing to do with all that stuff. What was all that stuff you just talked about for the last 90 seconds or whatever? So, very interesting lane there. But yeah, it was good being back with Hammer Fam. It was good being back with the regulars that was there as well. I'll tell you what, Rashi Flex, to me, is so underratedly funny. That guy, he could do Saturday Night Live. He could do Saturday Night Live. He is the kind of guy to make people laugh. The only difference is Saturday Night Live is so scripted to the point where, can he deliver that? Can he hit the beats and stuff like that? I don't know. But in terms of his improvisation, in terms of his, boom, you're on the spot, you're live, you've got to make people laugh. He's definitely got that. And yeah, I'd be interested to team up with a little bit in the future and see if we can put something together, maybe make something interesting. I know he's got a shop, the number one plug in Heckmondwike, and I gig sometimes in Heckmondwike. Howard Walker, I believe he's got a gig in, is the guy who runs the gig in Heckmondwike. I believe that's the one I'm thinking of. So next time I'm there, maybe just roll by his shop, maybe make a little bit of a little reel or something like that. I made one this time. I made quite a vague one, just a video, who's your favourite Pakistani, and I like that, and I want to make more of those every time I go on. Touch wood, I will be back with Hammer and Fam, especially in the Manchester records, and I'll be doing more records, touch wood, so that's something that's in my mind to do and to get done. Let's talk about my upcoming gigs this week, because I had a week off. However, as of recording tonight, I have a gig last minute. One's popped up in Farnworth with Ben Godridge, and he messaged me at 1 minute past 3 today going, any chance you can come do a spot for me tonight, 20 minutes? I was like, for you, Ben? Absolutely. Because to be fair, he's someone who's given me a good amount of stage time. He's only been involved in stand-up about, what, maybe 5 years maximum, and he's given me like multiple, he's given me at least 5 gigs. So someone who's given me, let's just average it out at 1 a year, which I'm pretty sure he's given me more than that. It's brilliant, it's fantastic, and like, he's someone who, he wants to put on good shows, and he's someone who wants to be involved in stand-up in a positive way, and not just someone who's like, because there's some people who are involved and you feel like, you're probably just doing this for the money, mate. But with him, it really feels like he's doing it because he loves, I mean, and I know he loves stand-up because he used to be like a hardcore comedy fan, going to shows all the time in Bolton, like before he got into stand-up as well. And I feel like those people make a very interesting transition because they go as someone who knows what they're like as an audience member, and they can then try and replicate that by putting together lineups for other people who are like-minded. And I look like Jack Kelly's a very similar person. Jack Kelly's someone who loves stand-up. Jack Kelly's someone who got into stand-up, what, in 2018, maybe 2019? And he can put on shows from that perspective of, what's the audience enjoying? What do I like? What do I appreciate about this person? We've had these discussions in the past. I've seen him put people on, and not that I've questioned it, but I've had that discussion with him, like, why specifically did you book this person for this show? Because I thought that it was quite an off-the-wall choice, and he'd tell me through his process. I go, yeah, I completely understand that. You're the guy who books the gig. Your thought process is the most important thing in terms of the booking of the show, because you're the one who's got to put it together. So it's interesting having those conversations with someone who, he comes at comedy from a completely different angle as me. Like, I loved stand-up when I was a teenager, but I hadn't really watched much of it in the like decade running up to me becoming a stand-up comedian. I just didn't have access to it that much. I watched a few specials here and there like everyone else, like casual viewers do. But Jack would be out going to live shows all the time. He knows the stand-up comedians. He knows who's good. So it's very interesting. I like the people who are hardcore fans. Like James from the Pokemon card shop. He's someone as well who absolutely loves stand-up. That's why he comes to so many gigs with me. Oh, here we go. We're going to talk about this actually. We confirmed it yesterday. We will be running a stand-up comedy show at his Pokemon card shop starting July the 6th, which is a Monday. If July the 6th isn't a Monday, it's whatever the Monday is. If the 7th is a Monday, then it's the 7th. But I think it's July the 6th, 2026 at the Pokemon card shop. Now, this is a very interesting one for me because I run gigs with a lad called Matthew Downey. Now, Matt Downey's a bit in and out of comedy. And he'd say that himself. You know, he's very much out of comedy sometimes, and then he's very much up for doing comedy at the same time. So, for example, we've got this on. Me and him are going to go down to the shop today and have a business chat with him at 8 o'clock going, listen, this is how it will work. This is what we'll do. In the end, like I say, 1 minute past 3, I've got a message about this gig. So then I've messaged him about 1:15 as soon as I'd confirmed it with Ben about 15 minutes later. Yeah, got a last minute gig, so I won't be there tonight. But go down, chat about these things with him, discuss this, and give him, we've had a little bit of a back and forth conversation. We run that together, and we've always run our nights together as a team. Now, we've taken different responsibilities, and sometimes it's like 50-50, and sometimes I'm doing more stuff because he's more out of it, because like I say, he's in and out of stand-up. But this is one show that I really want to put together, and I want it to be his baby. I want to help him get this show off the ground. I want to be involved in it for the next 6 months, next year, next 18 months, however long it is, and then fully hand over the reins to him and be like, there you go, that's yours now. You keep running it. This is how we've run it, and I'm trying to introduce him back into the side of running a gig and taking some of the responsibilities that I would do. So kind of before, I would do a lot of the business and admin side, and he'd do the techie side. So he'd take pictures, he'd make posters, he'd talk about stuff with them that I wouldn't talk, like parking. He'd talk with them about stuff like that. He'd cover a lot of that kind of stuff, and then I'd do the stuff like booking people, telling people when to get there, those kind of things. Formulating a lineup, sometimes he'd do that as well, to be fair. We'd go back and forth on that. So, but what I'm trying to do now is move back towards slowly him taking fully over this show to the point where I'm hoping in 18 months' time, I've got nothing to do with this show and I'm not even going to it anymore. And that's kind of my plan now. It's because this is where I want to be in comedy. I want to be in comedy to the point where this gig is not paying enough for me, essentially. That's so in stand-up you want to earn a living off it and earn a good living off it. So I'm looking into the future thinking, right, how much do I need to be earning? And looking, going, right, these are the amounts I kind of want to be earning in the future. So these are the kind of things that I'm thinking about at the moment. And this is what, like, so to set off, long story short, it's hard for me to really say it because I've not really fully formulated the idea. It's just like a rough idea I've got in my head. But that's kind of my exit strategy for the shows that me and him run. I really want to help him get off the ground with them. But then I want to be too busy to be running my own nights, essentially. And I'm hoping that in 18 months' time, I can get to that level where I'm just too busy to run them. Or if I am running them, they're bigger venues with like hundreds of seats or whatever. This is a venue with 30 seats. It's in the town that we live. It's in Bolton. It's for a friend of ours, James. So it's a nice little one to just get going where I'm not charging them too much. I'm charging them what is like, just like with my other one that I'm running at the moment in Hindley. It's a very small fee, small amount of people, getting good acts in because it's a Monday night. And then I want it to build to the point where my stand-up builds me to the point where I don't do these anymore. But again, it's hard to say because maybe I'm going to be sitting back in 18 months' time being like, Adam, you've not hit this goal, but hopefully I have, and hopefully that's where I'm going to be. But, 18 months, whatever, 2 years, whatever it is, I want to build this show up with him to that kind of thing where he can just run it by himself. He doesn't need me anymore. It's completely his thing, and it's something that we can build for James as well, who's a genuine comedy fan. It happens to be that the 6th of July is his birthday as well. So what a great time to do the first one. It's his birthday. We're doing the show at his place. It's a Monday night, so hopefully we can get better acts. He's requested specific... In fact, I'll tell him, he's requested Jack Kelly to open it. So straight away, boom, message Jack. Do you want to do this gig on a Monday? Here's the fee. Jack's, boom, yeah, let's do it straight away. Boom, that's sorted. Matt's in the middle. I'm hosting. All we need now is someone to close and someone else in the middle, and the lineup is done. I've already messaged the closer. Hopefully he agrees. I don't think he will because Bolton's a little bit far for him, but we'll see how it goes. If he does accept, then brilliant. We're all sorted. But yeah, looking forward to it. Looking forward to doing this, like I say, for the next 6 months, for the next year, whatever it is, and getting this off the ground, building something in Bolton, a regular comedy night in a unique environment. This is a Pokemon card shop. This is a place that doesn't sell alcohol. You're in a place, it's not going to be your usual comedy night. It's going to have a strange vibe. There might be a few teething problems in the first one with me hosting. Maybe I'm going to find it difficult because I'm performing to people who are just buzzing off Monster drinks and Red Bull, and I've got to be like, okay, they're in a different kind of vibe here. I need to control them in a different way. They're a bit, hyped up because they're all on energy drinks and chocolate and crisps. I need to, play it a certain way. I don't know how I'm going to do it. I don't know how it's going to go, but I'm really looking forward to this challenge, creating this thing, and hopefully it being a success. And, in the future, I want to be at that point where they're asking me to come back and headline it. They're asking me, oh, can you come and headline this? And they're paying me the fee then, where I'm going, right, I don't need to be involved in all the stuff. I just need to turn up for 20 minutes, catch up with my mates, and boom, bounce off home. And that's where I want to be in life. That's where I want to be with my stand-up. I want to be at that level, and I want to be moving more and more towards that. And yeah, I think I might try with a few more venues as well. Because before the pandemic, me and Matt were running in about 5 or 6 different venues. We had Northern Monkey in Bolton. We had the Ardent Inn in Accrington. We had what was it called in Bamber Bridge? It was a small place. It was like a living room, but lovely people who ran it. We had one in Preston. We had another one in Hindley, not the current one. We were doing one in Horwich as well. So there's all these different places that we were running gigs before, and I think maybe we should build back up to that level of we're running a few again. Move me back towards where I want to be in terms of doing stand-up on a more regular basis. I'm doing it at a decent rate at the moment, but I ideally want to be doing it like 4 or 5 nights a week. 4 or 5 nights a week, good fees every night. That's where I want to be completely honest with you. Well, I want to be to the level where I'm selling out my own shows and stuff like that, and I'm doing my tours all over the country. At the moment, another thing I'm thinking about doing is Adam Anwar and Friends as a concept. So a lot of people do this where they don't have their full show yet, but they'll put on a show with their name on the title, and they'll be working towards building their show. So my mate Carl Porter did it, Carl Porter and Friends. and he took a few of our mates around the UK with him. James Crook went, Phil Sutton, maybe Paul Campbell went, Ben Silver would have gone. He took them around different places in the UK, did Carl Porter and friends, and based off the strength of his name, over 500,000 followers at this stage, people came out to see it, and they're coming out to see everyone. Everyone gets a chance to perform and entertain the crowds, and Carl gets to sell tickets off the strength of his name without having to jump straight into doing his full show in front of people. So I'm thinking maybe I do this, and where I just do like half an hour and I keep building on my actual show and really working on that show, and that's again where I want to be. I want to be working towards doing my own solo show. And yeah, while I'm in this kind of middle zone of maybe not being able to sell out venues across the country, but maybe being able to put a reasonable amount of tickets in places, maybe I do that. Maybe I do that as a way. So, or team up with someone else and do like split shows or a 3-way show or whatever. But these are the things that I'm thinking. I'm trying to think, right, what's the next step for me? How do I move forward? Alongside the traditional stuff like trying to get in with all the big bookers. I mentioned Manford earlier. I'm at the Stand Comedy Club in a few weeks, which is one of the biggest comedy clubs in the UK. Can't wait to get back there. Love playing those venues. They're great. So I'm really looking forward to these kind of things and thinking more towards the future. How do I build it? And this is the life of like a self-employed person, but self-employed in stand-up comedy, it's even more complicated because like you've got so many bosses to impress, and quite a lot of the time, people don't really want to book you if people that they know aren't booking you. Does that make sense? So if you get in with like one group of people, then all of a sudden the rest of those groups start booking you. And sometimes you get lucky because you get last minute gigs. Now this is a last minute gig for someone that I already know and have a good relationship in, Ben Godridge. But something like, for example, the Manford one, the first time I did Manford's, that was a last minute call up. I think it was their debut show in Earlham, I think it was, or Cadishead maybe. Either way, it was a last minute call up. It was on the day. They put a thing out, who's available tonight. I was like, I'm available, and I got it. And I'll be honest, I was a little bit, not nervous is the wrong word, but I was eager and anxious to perform well because I knew this was my opportunity, and if I performed well, it would lead to more work with them. When I performed on that night, it did go well, and Debbie, who I mentioned earlier, she was there on that show. And she was very congratulatory to me, saying, "Oh, very good. That was really good." And this is something that I've got so much respect for. This next thing that I'm going to say. There's a comedian called Martin Moore. He's retired now. He's still helping people to write shows and that kind of thing. So he's still in the comedy world, but he's not having to do that road dog thing where you're traveling all over the place all the time. And Martin was in the green room, and I believe he was hosting that night. And when Debbie came in and was saying that, he was right next to him, "Oh, Adam's a proper comedian." And him saying that, someone who's been in the game for decades, someone who was turning over a new show every year, going to the Fringe, doing at least one new show, because he did like a circus kind of act as well, where he did like some juggling, I think stuff with fire. I'm not too sure because I never went to see it, and a lot of it was obviously before I started stand-up, but he was turning over all these shows all the time. So for someone like that to kind of give me that call sign in front of someone who'd seen me do well, who was already congratulatory of me, I think that just multiplied the sense of how well I did in a good way. Because sometimes this opposite can happen where, let's say you do the exact same quality of gig, and the person who's there, who's a part of the team running the gig, maybe they're outside smoking, maybe they needed the toilet, maybe they're just not paying attention, they're on the phone because their kids are looking for their school tie and school starts again next week and they've lost it. Whatever it is, there can always be these kind of things where you're not being seen, you're not getting feedback, and then the people in the green room, they got their own stuff going on as well. No one owes you anything. No one has to speak out on your behalf and co-sign you and say Adam did a really good job, didn't he? Adam's a great comedian, whatever. No one has to say that. So the fact that these things happen and everything fell into line in that, it has led to more and more Manford's gigs. It has led to more gigs with Peter's the guy. I won't say his phone name in case he might not want it in the larger public sphere, although I don't think this is going to go mega viral, this video, so he doesn't have too much to worry about. But anyway, it's Peter. Peter runs gigs of his own accord, not just the Manford's one, so he then booked me on his own gigs as well, so it did lead me to more stuff. So yeah, stuff like that, it means a lot, and it does genuinely really, really help you, and does help you to kind of move forward and get into places and positions that you do want to be in. So, always be available is my recommendation. I also, here's one thing about me, I don't drive. I need to drive. I know I need to drive. I need to really get it done this summer. I need to stop messing around and stop wasting time. Because we're in May already. Before you know it, we'll be this is what happened last year. It was the end of summer and I was like, oh, get around to it again. I need to get it done now. I need to get it done. And then that's another thing. I need to then start emailing bookers further afield and try and get those gigs as well. Because I look at a few of my friends who are doing comedy who can drive, and they're getting in these, what I would refer to as like far-flung places, but aren't far-flung places. They're only doing like Nottingham and like those kind of Midlandsy areas, and it's like dipping into the south. But you can drive there and back. You can go there and back if you're a driver. Now, it's something that I didn't do for a long time, and I'll be honest, I think the main reason I don't drive is because when I was younger, driving was a negative thing in my world. So my dad's a taxi driver. His job is to drive. So the reason that I can't spend time with dad as a little boy is because he's out in the car driving. And if he doesn't drive, we ain't got money to eat today. We ain't got money to eat this week. So dad needs to stay out 12 hours a day. I remember being a kid, my dad would go out like night shift, Friday and Saturday night. I know what's going on Friday and Saturday night. I know he's having to ferry around a load of drunk people. I know if people start to get drunk, they start to say things that they might not mean. I know 100% without even asking him. My dad was subject to racist abuse when I was a child. He's driving people, ferrying them around on a Friday, Saturday night. They're drunk. Yeah, you know what I mean? I know these things are happening as a kid. So in my mind, being a driving is no good. And I remember I used to get teased as a kid by like my mum and like my brother and my dad going, oh yeah, you know, when you're old enough to drive, you'll be taking your mum all over the place instead of me. And I'd be like, I don't want to do that. Like, everything to do with driving was a negative to me. So I was really put off the idea of driving. So I was never, it was something that I bet they wish they didn't do, and I bet they don't even realise that they did that now. And it was a mistake on their part, because my daddy's always been at me, learn to drive, do this, do that. And I've always been like, and right now that stuff's not on the front of my mind, but I know subconsciously that's why I've not learned to drive. That's why I've never bothered. Because to be fair as well, I've never overly needed it. In stand-up now, I do need it. I know that I need it. But I've never overly needed it. And I did 10 lessons because my dad made me. This is another thing. My dad made me do 10 lessons my first summer off from uni. I did the 10 lessons. I never went back to them. Because again, I only did it because he was making me. But my sister, he paid for all my sister's stuff, all of her lessons, all of her tests. Oh, when you pass, I'll buy you a car. But with me, I was getting none of that. So I was really bitter about the idea of driving. I didn't want to drive. And now all of a sudden, I'm in my 30s and I need it for work. And I'm like, Adam, you need to get yourself in gear here. Hey, you like that pun there by accident. But yeah, I do. I need to start to drive and I need to do it. But I guess that's the thing. I mean, I've got a joke about it, my dad being a taxi driver. And I actually said to him once as a kid, he said like, oh, what do you want to do when you're older? And I honestly had no idea what I wanted to do when I was older. And I had no, well, I didn't know. I wanted to be a footballer, but I know that like you can't just apply to be a footballer. But I had no idea how to become one. I just thought you got scouted on the local field or whatever. I honestly had no idea how you get scouted. Now I know that, you know, you can maybe go to these like football trials where like the different clubs have different trials and they can spot, you know, certain kids are better than others at a certain age, and then you can maybe play for your local team and play for a Saturday team and a Sunday team and all that stuff through the youth level and build your way up. I know that exists now, but as a child I didn't know that. If I didn't know it, I would have been begging, please, please, please let me go. Please let me join a football team. Because that's all I wanted. I wanted to be a footballer. I wanted to be a footballer. Really, the dream would have been to be a wrestler. But it was just not existent that I could be a wrestler. I saw no possible way as a kid that I could be a wrestler. I just didn't envisage a path. Even though there's people around my age, like Drew McIntyre, for example, he's not too much different in age to me, but he obviously trained to be a wrestler in the UK. I know that there's the schools in Manchester, Future Shock is a training school. In theory, I could have trained to wrestle there, and you know, anything could have happened. But I didn't know about this as a kid. Anyway, my dad asked me, what do you want to do? And I couldn't think of any other job, so I was like, I'll be a taxi driver. And my dad was upset by that. He goes, no, I don't want you to be a taxi. I want you to do something better than being a taxi driver. I want you to be a doctor or a lawyer. That's what the Asian parents do. I was very lucky that my parents weren't my dad wasn't very strict in terms of my education. And he was never one to be looking at my results and being like, why have you not got this? Why have you... I mean, Mum was looking at my results, but she wasn't overly negative on me. I'll tell you what I was bad at though. I was terrible at handwriting, and oh my days, my mum tortured me to get better handwriting. I remember sat at home while my mates were playing out outside. Carl and Michael, shout out to you both. They were playing out. I was in my house crying my eyes out because mummy's making me practice my handwriting. Now it's okay, but it didn't get better then. It didn't get better in those days, I'm telling you now. Yeah, that was something I was really rubbish at. But then I just made it better myself. I even made my grammar better, but I made my grammar better by like just spending too much time on MSN Messenger as a kid, talking to all my mates, because that's the kind of kid that I was. I'd get home at night, straight on MSN, chat to my mates all night on MSN, like until basically Mum made me go to bed. Meanwhile, hogging up the phone line, because that was what it was in those days. It was dial-up internet. You know, them old ones. So, yeah. Oh, let's talk about more childhood trauma while I'm at it, in terms of my handwriting. I remember once, my year 6 teacher, I think she was called Mrs. Robinson, she dragged me because Adam is taking the mick. He's obviously not trying with his handwriting, and he's obviously taking the absolute PI double snakes out of me. His handwriting's terrible. I said, no, it's not. Right, let's see. She dragged me into the year 5 class, the year below, into Mr. Horn's class. She's got the piece of paper. She goes, look at that, Mr. Horn. Adam says he can't do better handwriting than this, but he's not trying, is he? And I was like, that's how I always write. And bloody they're crying in front of all the kids a year below me. And then Mr. Horn's looking at it going, yeah, that's what his handwriting's like. And then she's like, oh. The thing is, I weren't a special kid. I weren't in those classes that you needed to be in if you was one of those special kids. I wasn't in them. I was just an average kid in terms of intelligence. My maths was actually really good. My English grammar and that, just probably poor to be honest. But overall, I was just an average student, right? But my handwriting, I remember she took me in there and I was like, not happy. I was raging, man, in hindsight that she did that to me. I'm still upset now. Yeah. Oh, do you know what I saw today? I saw who I think is my old postman today. And I was looking at him and I was like, he was my old postman. And I'm sure he was my old postman. I didn't say hello. His review was probably his wife. He was with a woman of similar age. And I felt like saying, I think did you used to be a postman? You used to be my postman. Maybe. I had a proper day of throwbacks today. I bumped into a mate of mine from uni. No, I'll be honest, not a mega close mate, but basically, one of my best mates is one of his best mates. So, you know, we were friends by that way through uni, and after uni, we went on a stag do together with my mate Marcus, who also mates with Carl and Michael from earlier back in the day. We went on Marcus' stag do together. That's probably the time we more spent together, and then at Marcus' wedding as well. That was the last time we saw each other. And I said that to him today. I said, I've not seen you since Marcus was married. In fact, I've not seen you since Marcus's wedding day. I've not seen him since I've not seen Marcus since his wedding day. And now they divorced. That's how long that's been. 2019 to now. Summer 2019. So yeah, it's going up 7 years that I've not seen him. That's the longest stretch in my life that I've not seen him. Well, probably the first 7 years. I didn't know him until I was about 7. But yeah, so that was interesting. Bumped into him at the Pokemon card shop, funnily enough. And then I bumped into a girl who was in the year below me in school, Harriet, whose sister Hannah, she was in my year, and then we went to college together, so then I got to know her a bit better in college. So yeah, bumping into all these people, I feel like I'm in a reality TV show or something. If that's the case, why is my follower count not going up? Why is no one following? Then again, if I'm on a reality TV show, you can just tune in and watch me live anytime. You don't need to follow me. You can see me recording my videos anytime you want. And this is something that's on my mind as well. The algorithm. I don't understand it anymore. I don't understand what I'm doing with my videos, why nothing's catching fire at the moment, why nothing's getting much attention. And then you look back at your most recent, and I don't mind if a video doesn't do well, but what you get to a point where your last 6 videos have all done less than a certain amount, and then you go, have I fallen off here? nothing has done well in like about 2 weeks. What is going on? Why can't I get any kind of traction whatsoever? So hopefully I get some good clips out of the next Ham and Fam thing. In fact, I've probably got a few more that I can put on from the last one. Because I put one of those on, that didn't do anything for me really. I don't know. Again, I don't know why it didn't do well. I don't understand the algorithm. What are you doing, algorithm? I don't know, but yeah, that's something that I need to get better at. Again, is figuring that stuff out. And again, being around these people at the Ham and Fam shoot, all these people who were there, besides Tom Zanetti, they're all in that social media world, so they kind of understand a little bit more the algorithm, especially the younger lads who were there, and they're saying, oh yeah, in my first second in my video, there's got to be something visually stimulating for people, otherwise they'll switch off. And I'm like, yeah, you're 100% right. I need to start doing that in my videos. I need to start giving them something in the first second that they're going, I need to keep watching this. And that's the hard thing, isn't it? That's the hard thing, is you're fighting against the entire internet. Like, compared to other stand-up comedians, especially on my level, my amount of years in the business, my amount of earnings in the business, I've probably got I bet I've got a way bigger following than any stand-up who makes the same amount of money as me. But I just can't knock myself to higher levels. Well, I know I can't. It's slow knocking yourself to higher levels in terms of earning more and getting more traction online, because all these things kind of feed into each other, and you do become a flavour of the week when you start to get a little bit more traction online. You do start to get more messages of people being like, oh, do you fancy coming and doing my gig? Do you fancy doing this? Do you fancy doing that? And all of a sudden, that's what you start to fill in. Your expenses just start to pile up a little bit better then when you're getting more of those gigs in. But when you're not getting them in, it does start to be a little bit more slow. Yeah. What else is happening at the moment? Mayors? Are they voting for mayor at the moment? I don't... Listen, people think that I'm a very political person. For the more I stay out of politics, I've got very strong opinions on social issues, but I don't really have strong opinions in terms of politics, because I don't really understand the actual differences between all the politicians, and if you vote for who, how it changes. I honestly don't know, and I don't understand. There'll be some people who are way more into it than me who will know. But I think because I've got so many views on social issues that people think I'm a very political person. People think that I'm very, like, left, for example. Which I probably would be. I don't, like... I honestly don't know. I to be genuine with you, I honestly don't know, because, like, when I see a lot of hate about immigrants, I know that it's just disguised racism. I know it's just disguised racism, because a lot of people start going, oh, immigrant, and all of a sudden the idea is that that person's bad, but the only reason they're calling that person an immigrant is because they're brown. They don't actually know that person's status in terms of whether they were born here, whether they're immigrant, or whether they're just on holiday. They don't know. They just look at someone brown who's done something wrong and go, immigrant, look at them, immigrants. And I'm like, just because someone's brown doesn't make them an immigrant. Just because someone's an immigrant doesn't make them a bad person. Just because someone's a bad person doesn't make them brown. But people are just going, oh yeah, Venn diagram. They think the Venn diagram is a massive crossover, and it tires me out, man. It tires me out. But like I say, I've got these strong issues on social issues that, you know. Someone asked me the other day my opinions on gay marriage. They went, what's your opinions on gay marriage? I'm like, first of all, I didn't know where this idea was coming from, why they were asking me specifically about gay marriage. I'm assuming it's just because I'm Muslim. Just because I'm Muslim, they thought, do you know what? I want to ask this guy about gay marriage, right? So I can't remember what the answer I gave him was, but let's talk it through now. Hey, listen, this is a long-term format. Let's talk it through, shall we? So I've actually got strong opinions on marriage in general. Let's wind it back to the beginning. Weddings. No, let's rewind before weddings. Engagements. I understand engagements, and I like the idea of engagements. I want to marry you. We should be together. Beautiful. That is absolutely beautiful. I think two people, this is my actual truth now, I think two people, whoever they are, if they want to spend their lives with each other, more power to you. More power to you. You want to team up, more power to you. Now, obviously a lot of people align sexual stuff with marriage, which is obvious, which is an obvious thing. It's an obvious part and parcel thing of it. But I actually think it's more beautiful that you go in. I want to do everything in my life with you. I want to have a house. I want to trust you with the finances. I want to raise children with you. If couples do raise children, I want to go on all the holidays on the rest of my life with you. I want to turn up to all family events with you. I want to turn up to work events with you with me and be like, this is my wife, this is my husband, whatever, right? I think that is beautiful. But engagements are skewed in British society. I mean, don't get me wrong. They're skewed in Pakistani society as well. Let's talk about that. Arranged marriages. I'm not a fan of arranged marriages. I'm not a fan of cousin marriage. I don't like it. It happens. It absolutely happens. I understand it happens. I don't like it though. I'm not a fan of it. I know that there's genetic issues that can arise through cousin marriage. I feel like having cousin marriage, we need to move away from it somehow. Whatever people start to do, whether they marry people in their village, people that their families are known for, whatever it is whatever it is. Arranged marriages, now, I think the problem with arranged marriages is quite often they get conflated with forced marriages, and forced marriages are obviously wrong. Anything that is forced is likely wrong, right? Because you're forcing it. It's not something that is wanted and desired. Forced marriage is obviously wrong. Arranged marriages, when both people are into the idea and open to the idea, I actually think there's nothing wrong with that. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. People will say, but you don't know the person. There's that old Frank Gallagher joke from Shameless. Yeah, but you don't know the person in British society before you marry them. Then once you marry them, then you live with them. Then when you get to know them. That's kind of true. That is kind of true. As much as you might want to know someone, when you start to live with them, when you live around them so often all day, every day, that's when you really get to know the person and, So arranged marriages, I don't really have too much of it, but even in my mind, they get conflated sometimes with forced marriages. But arranged marriages, I got no problem with it. If two people want an arranged marriage and they want to marry each other, more power to them. Especially if it's like, because you get it with matchmakers, don't you? You get matchmakers now, like you can sign up to them yourself, and I see them on like the social medias where they go, oh, I got this person's bio, and then I recommended this person to each other, and then they both said yes, and then I put them in contact with each other. And I think, what a great service, If their stuff on paper matches, then brilliant. If you can be honest with yourself on paper, going, right, this is what I want. Like if it was me and I was being completely honest with myself, go, listen, I'm a little bit messy. I'm a little bit messy. I want someone who likes going to the same restaurant over and over again, because I like doing that. I like going to don't get me wrong, I like going to new places as well, but if we go to the same restaurant every month for a year, I'd probably be like, yeah, that's fine by me. I like going to the same places over and over again. Where some people be like, no, I'm a clean freak. I like new experiences all the time. And I'd be like, oh, probably not for me. I like walking outdoors. Yeah, not me, mate. Not me. I don't like walking outdoors. I'll walk outdoors with you, but please don't try and make me go every weekend. That's a little bit too much for me. That's just not what I'm into. And I think regular life is you find someone who doesn't have everything in common with you. You find someone who you like, they like you back. You have enough things in common, and then you meet each other in middle grounds, and then that's where you get exposed to new experiences. And I think that's a beautiful thing as well, is marrying someone who you aren't 100% aligned with, but you're a certain percent aligned with. And then you go, well, actually, you like this thing and I don't. I'll give it a go every now and then. I'll try that thing with you, whatever it is. Like, oh, you like going on a holiday to beach holidays. We'll just use it because I'm not a big beach holiday person. But okay, you're a big beach holiday person. Okay, how about every now and then we'll go on a beach holiday because I know that you like that. But for the most part, I like to go on city holidays. You like those as well, not as much as beach holidays. Because I really don't like beach holidays. How about we'd mainly do the ones that I like because you like them as well. And then I'll still sometimes do the ones that you like even though I don't like them. I feel like that's a decent compromise, right? So that's my thought on arranged marriages. Now we're talking about engagements. Yes, engagements. That's what's wrong with the engagement process in Pakistan. Sometimes Pakistani culture, you might get you might get a arrangement with a cousin. The proposal system has a breakdown in Western culture. Because the whole ring thing, was only made up about 100 years ago, and it was like literally, it was a diamond company who made an advert saying like real men propose with rings and diamonds. And since then, the rich people started it. The middle class saw the rich people and the rich women going, oh yeah, I've got a diamond ring. So the middle class woman saying to her, fiance, I probably want a ring. So then he gets it. Now everyone gets a ring. Everyone gets a diamond ring. The diamond business is just rolling in money. They've got so many diamonds just stocked up in warehouses that they drip release so they can keep the value high. I don't like that. I don't like this expectation that you should get someone an engagement ring when you get engaged. I don't like that. I don't think it's a good idea that everyone should have to do that. What if I had no money and I really wanted to get married to someone and I wanted to propose? What am I supposed to do? Like, I can't afford to do it. Is my engagement now invalid? Because everywhere that she goes, everyone's going, but where's your ring? And she goes, well, I don't have one. Does that mean I don't love this person as much? No, of course it doesn't. It just means that I can't afford to give her the things that I want to give her. So this expectation of a diamond ring, I don't like it. The expectation of a man to get down on his knee. I got a bad back, mate. I can't get down on my knee for nothing. I had to bend over and pick something up off the floor the other day, and honestly, my back was pinging for about 17 and a half minutes, bro. I can't be doing that. I can't be getting down on my knee, and what's supposed to be a beautiful moment, me proposing to you, ends in me in agony. It shouldn't be that way. I'm sorry, it shouldn't. I should be able to stand up, look you in the eye and go, listen, I love you. Want for marry me? No, obviously not like that. A bit more romantic. I love you. I want to spend the rest of my life with you. You know, genuine, nice, lovely. That's what an engagement should be. So this is my problem with engagements, right? Next up, the wedding. No, we all know everything in a wedding is hyped up price-wise through the roof. You want a photographer, it's going to cost you more. You want a cake, it's going to cost you more. You want a dress, cost you more. You want suits for your grooms, it's going to cost you more. You want the hall, it's going to cost you more. I don't know what the bar costs. I'm assuming it's going to cost the same or more. Everything costs you more if it's a wedding, right? You want to hire a car, it's going to cost you more. Why? People exploit you if you're getting married. And I understand it, because Matt, going back to before, I've seen him do wedding photography. I've seen his stress having to edit those pictures because he wants those pictures to be the best pictures in the world, and he wants to send them to that couple so that couple gets them quickly, looks at them and goes, oh my God, this is the best day of my life. You've captured it perfectly. He wants to do that. What if something goes wrong? What if a memory card gets corrupted? What if this? What if that? What if this? What if... You got to have so many things going for you, and like the stress and anxiety of that is massive. So I understand it, but it's a rip-off. Why am I spending, again, let's say that woman who I've just proposed to, right? And I've just spent, let's say, you're supposed to spend, let's say 3 months' wages. Some people say 1 month. I think 1 month on minimum wage in the UK right now is about 1,500 quid. So let's just go halfway. We'll call it 3.5 grand. You're supposed to spend 3.5 grand on this ring, right? Okay. Well, now I need to spend, the average wedding price in the UK, I think, is £26,000. Now, all of a sudden, that's more than a minimum wage job in the UK for one person. So now 2 people who are probably paying rent, if they're paying a mortgage, they are scrimping and saving to spend and buy every single thing so that essentially they can throw a party for their family and their friends. That's what they're doing, right? They've got to spend all this money on this one day. Why? I tell you what, anyone out there who wants to invite me to their wedding, and I say this with Jack Kelly inviting me to his wedding, I'll be there, Jack, I'll be there at your wedding. I need to RSVP. Actually, I've got your thing in the hallway right now ready to RSVP, and I will do it. But if you're out there and you're thinking, I need to have a wedding because I need to have a party because I want to celebrate with my friends and family, how about this? How about you spend that 26 grand, especially if you're renting, you spend that 26 grand on a house deposit. You put that towards house deposit, you get an house. Once you've got that house, invite me round, we'll have a housewarming. Or we'll go to a cricket club and say, listen, how much for your room? Or can I get your room for free if I bring you 100, 200 people here and they're going to be drinking and eating all night at your place? Can we do that? You're going to make all this money and I'm going to bring all these people in. You're going to make all this off me. And they're going to go, yeah, you're going to get that at a cut rate. You're going to bring them I know this is running stand-up nights. I know that if I go to venues, I can go to them, can I have it for free? And they'll go, yeah. I go to venues and I make them pay me because I'm gonna make them sell the tickets. I'm not gonna take that finance. They need to do that. They need to be a buy-in. But you can do this. You can do that and go, right, I'll just get a hold. Do that as a party. Just have a party. Have an anniversary party. Do a surprise party. Doesn't matter. You tell everyone, right, guys, we're having an anniversary party. Turn up on June the 13th. Everyone rolls up on June the 13th. You go, guys, we've got a surprise for you. Da-da-da-da-da. We got married last week in surprise. This is our wedding party. Now, everyone is more casual because they're all coming to your party. They're not having to get babysitters because you said bring them because the baby ain't going to ruin the wedding. They're not going to ruin your party. Bring your babies with you, so no babysitters now. 2, they've not had to get an hotel for the night because you've got them some random location in the middle of Yorkshire. They don't need to do that. They can come on the cheap, boom, local, nearby. They don't need to buy a suit. They don't need to get shoes that fit. They can come in their trainers and their jeans and their shirt. It's an anniversary party. It's cool. They can all come and have a great time. Guys, weddings are a con. Weddings are a con. We need to get away from weddings. Marriage, right, I'm going to end on this. Marriage, I think, is a beautiful thing. Genuinely, as a human being, I do not think it's my responsibility to tell anyone else what they can and can't do. As long as they're not hurting anyone else. So I'm not letting people go around doing ching-ching on people. But you know what I'm saying? I think if two people want to spend the rest of their lives together, go for it. Go for it. And I hope it works out for you. And I hope as a team, you two together live it absolutely fantastic. And I genuinely believe that. So when people ask me, what's my opinions on gay marriage? I don't care if it's gay. I don't care if it's straight. I genuinely don't care. For me, it doesn't affect my life. And whether you're straight, honestly, I care so little about this topic that, like, you're so free. I've actually been to a gay wedding, by the way. I've actually been to a gay wedding. So if people try and go, oh, he's skirting around the issue because he's really just homophobic. How can I be homophobic if I've been to a gay wedding? You ask any gay person out there if I don't know what's homophobic. Some of them, if they knew me before I was 16, yeah, they'll probably say made a few, yeah, whatever. That's when before I was 16, I'm not the same person anymore. I'm not the same person at all. Disavowed those ways, absolutely. Kids need to grow up. Kids need to learn lessons that adults know. Overall, that's my thoughts on weddings. We got there in the end, guys, didn't we? We got there on the end. And with that, well, that's a podcast, guys. I hope you've enjoyed it. I will be back, inshallah, next week with another episode. Bye-bye.